Morning, guys. This is Greeny. It's kind of a funny story with this one here. I had received a message right before Christmas. It says, I'd like to give you a 66 Monza and a bunch of parts. And I thought, oh, geez, I don't know. It sounds like a scam. I don't know what's their angle. And so I kind of blew it off for a couple weeks. And it's like, oh, I seen it on my phone. I said, okay, well, he left his phone number. So I gave him a call. And I didn't know where he was from or anything like that. And his name was Bill from down in Tucson, about almost 2 hours from here. And he said, yeah, I have a Monza I'd like to give you and some parts. And then we talked a little bit, and he says, let me ask you this. He says, what do you like? What kind of Corvairs do you like? And I said, well, I like them all, but I do like the Greenbriers, and the Ramsides and Lakewoods are cool too. And, all Corvairs are cool. And he said, great. He says, I have a 63 Greenbrier, Greeny. And he kept referring it to Greeny, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And that was the name he gave it. It used to be Green. And he says, he told me, I said, well, tell me about it. And he's like, it's a complete van. He says, I said, complete? He says, yeah, it's got all the windows, everything's in it. He goes, I drove it up to a couple years ago, and it developed a knock, so I parked it. And I said, okay. So I said, well, how much you want for it? And he said, $300. I'm like, $300? I says, okay. I says, how come so cheap? And he says, well, I buy cheap and I sell cheap. I'm like, okay. He said, the only thing is I need the windshield out of it. He goes, I want the windshield. He goes, I have a core van that it's in storage, and that's my baby I'm going to be working on. So, and he wanted the rims. It had torque thrust rims on it. And the steering wheel, I had a little steering wheel on a smaller one with a suicide knob on it. I said, yeah, okay, well, okay. And he says, $300. So I'm like, okay. I says, you know what? I'll buy it, sight unseen. And he's like, great. And he goes, okay, I have another one. That's another 63, Greenbrier. I'm like, holy cow. So he goes and starts telling me about that one. He said, Chilly Willie. I said, Chilly Willie. I'm like, okay. What's up the story on that one? He said, Chilly Willie used to be an ice cream truck down in Tucson. A lady used to drive it around and sell ice cream out of it. And he says, that one, there's no motor in it, no transaxle, nothing in the back, just the axles are in it. And he says, yeah, you can have that one for $100. I said, oh, cow. I says, yeah, I'll buy it, And then he's telling me he has an engine he'll give me with a complete engine with a transaxle and a bunch of parts. And so me and my buddy Geronimo, we planned a trip to come down there. And I said, yeah, I can come down there this weekend, this Saturday. And I says, I'll bring a trailer down. He said, nah, maybe just want to come down and take a look at it. I said, nah, I'll buy one regardless. And he says, well, okay, Saturday I go out for breakfast. He goes, I go to a little cafe down the road, me and my dog and my neighbor, and we go there and we sit on a back patio and we have breakfast every day at like 11 o'clock. So me and Geronimo packed up the truck. We brought some rollers to change the tires, the impacts, all that fun stuff. Some extra tools, you never know what you need. And we headed down there. We met him there in the morning for breakfast. He ran a little late, and so we sat on the back patio and we talked for 40 minutes before we even ordered breakfast. And just a neat old guy and his young neighbor kid. And got our breakfast, ate a good breakfast, and then talked another hour or so there. And it was real nice. And the funny thing is, when he got there, he came pulling in an old four-door Corvair. He's driven Corvairs most of his life. He said this one here, he has driven it from Tucson to Chicago multiple times, 2-3 times, all over the place. And so he's driven them since I don't know, maybe mid-60s, most of his life. And neat guy. So we go over, follow him over to his place, and it's around back. There's a little side drive and to get to his house. And it's packed back there. There's stuff everywhere. The vans are buried. Just, there was airplane parts, aluminum sheets, just everything around it. The Mazda, the 66 was sitting to the side. It was on stands with no wheels, but it fell off of them, and parts all over. And the van completely packed full, just buried. So it was a little warm that day. So I told him, take it easy, sit under the tree, and Geronimo and I will take care of it all. But he insisted on helping. So I just take it easy. Well, I said, just tell me where you want the stuff. So we took everything piece by piece and stacked it nice on his property, and got it on buried, and took off his rims and stacked them up nice with his lug nuts. We put them in a can for him and everything. And yeah, the only thing is it's got a car motor on it. He said that's what he put in it, and it was running. And Chili Willie was there, buried, and parts all over the place. So we emptied it and brought it back here. And I think it was about a week later, we went down and we got Chili Willie out of there. And then he had a bunch of parts he wanted to give us, so I was just going to go back with the flatbed trailer and pick them up, the smaller trailer. And he said he has more parts in storage he wants to give me. So it was about 2-3 weeks later, I get a phone call from him, and he says, he goes, I got to ask you a favor. And I said, yeah, what do you need? And he says, because he kept telling me he had his Corvairs in storage. Well, the guy took the Corvairs out of storage. I don't know what the deal was. Threw it on the side of his property in front on a main road along the fence. And there was nothing, the whole back, there was nothing back here, nothing. It was just sitting on the bumper. And there's no motor, no axles, no nothing. Everything was gone out of it. So he had that, the whole bracketry that gets bolted on there to hold your axles and your coils and everything. He had that at his house. He had powder coated it years before, but everything that was on that thing, anything with a threaded bolt and all that, was just rusted. The nuts were gone. So I says, well, yeah, I come down there and we'll figure it out. I said, give me a few days and let me look under the rack under mine and see what's all entailed to doing. Maybe watch some videos, kind of get some ideas. And I says, I never worked on any of this before. And yeah, but so I asked my nephew, he's about 22. I says, you want to go down, I says, I'll pay you. Go down to Tucson and let's help this guy out and put this whole rear end in the back of this Greenbrier and get it, or a Corvairs, and get it back over to his house for him. And so we loaded up the trailer, and we just brought the tandem axle trailer. I didn't bring a car hauler. I was going to work on it, get the wheels under it, and go back the next day and move it for him. So we loaded up the trailer, blocking, jacks, pry bars, more tools than anything, wire wheels, oil, baling wire, and because we didn't know what to expect. So we got to his place, and he doesn't get up early. He gets up usually around 11. I said, can you get up at like around 10? He said, yes, I can do that. And I said, we'll be down there earlier, and we'll go and get your wheels off the property and see if we brought an air compressor. We'll see if they hold air. And I brought another set of wheels just in case for rollers, in case you need them. I made a metal bar to put across his, get in his axles and bolt them down to kind of hold it together. And so me and my nephew Chance, we left early that morning and got down there, and we were probably there an hour and a half on the property, getting the stuff, pieces cleaned up, put together, whatever we could find, and the coils. And so he got up, and we were pretty much ready to go. We loaded up the engine that he gave me. We got that on the trailer, and then he hopped in my truck, and we went over and we worked on it. We worked on it. I was missing nuts, and we multiple trips to the hardware store getting nuts. And I said, hey, Bill, take it easy. And he's trying to work, but I said, take it easy. We'll get it all. Just sit down in the shade, and don't overheat. And yeah, don't overheat, and we'll get it taken care of. So we got it all together, and we got rollers under it, and we worked a long time there. So then I'm like, man, we've been out here so long. I says, I don't feel like coming the next day. I just called a flatbed trailer to come get it. And the tow company I called, they come and brought a regular tow truck. I said, no, I said, you got to have a car hauler, you know? And so then he came back about 40 minutes later, waited around. They seen anything was loose, the headlight bezels, all the headlight cans and all that was hanging, so I wired them up tight. I thought I had everything nice and taken care of. And they loaded it up and they took it over to his house. And on the way there, I didn't realize that the passenger door didn't latch, the front one, and it was swinging open going down the road and just about hitting like telephone poles. And we're like, holy cow. And the truck driver didn't notice it, but it got there undamaged. And we got it in the backyard, in the back, nice for him, where he wanted it, where Chili Willie was. And yeah, that was did a good thing for him then. So it cost me like $155 for the flatbed, and I gave my nephew like $140, and we were down there like 13-hour day. We got back, it was dark. We left when it was dark, just about sun coming up, and got back when it was dark. And yeah, so we got it over for him. But like I said, and I brought him the windshield, and you know, and I brought him a windshield. I had a real nice windshield, so I brought him a windshield, and I got his steering wheel out of here, and he wanted his back license plate. It said Tucson. The tag, the frame said Tucson on it. But super nice guy, super very appreciative. I said, don't worry. He said, I'll pay you. I said, don't worry about it. I says, you gave me this stuff for a little bit of nothing. You know, I says, I can't believe you sold it so cheap. And he says, I had a couple heart attacks and strokes the year before. He said, my health is terrible. He goes, I just didn't want him to go to the crushers. I have my wife passed away, and I have no children, and I absolutely don't want him to go to the crusher. So yeah, that's my buddy Bill now. I usually try to give him a call every week or two on a Friday. He stays up early morning, and I'll call him about 8 o'clock, and we'll talk for an hour. And he tells me, very knowledgeable. I asked him, oh, you know, what kind of belts to use, and what kind. He tells me, yeah, use this kind of belt. Don't use these kind. Use a spark plug. But everyone, you know, has their own choice. But he's been doing it for so many years, you know. So yeah, that's this is Greeny, and Chili Willie's around the corner. And it was good. Nice guy to meet, and friendly. And hey, if he needs something again, if he needs help with something again, I'll go give him help. You know, like I said, it's a decent van. You know, it's got a front seat, a back seat. It's got all the glass, no dents, just really faded. This would be a good one I would consider doing a repaint on this one myself. But out of all the vans stuff I have here, I wouldn't repaint anything. But I think this one would, you know, I don't know, maybe just do the green and leave the rest. Something like that. I don't know. What you think? It'll be sitting out here for a while, but we'll get to it. Shooting a little walk around on Greeny. He was proud of this grill he made here for it. Still like that. Actually, I had a cutout of a Greenbrier bigger and all decorated. My friend, she decorated it for me, engraved it all, and painted it. And I had in the shop, I had to give him something cool. So what I did was I had gave that to him when I was down there, and I made him some stuff to give him. And actually, when we were down there the last time, I had, from the times before, I have taken pictures. I've taken pictures of everything we've done down there with him and everything. And actually, when we were winching Greeny, this one up on the trailer, he had to jump into it and ride up it like it was his final ride onto the trailer. It's pretty cool. But Yeah, this is Greeny, and it does have a car motor in it. And he's got the mechanic switch here, so he said you can just leave the key on and you can start it from here. And yeah, that's the motor. Not too bad. I'm not going to complain. $300. And I'm surprised it's faded the same all the way around. Didn't get any different from the sun one way or the other. But yeah, that's Greeny. So this one here is actually Chili Willie. It's the other Greenbrier I got from Bill down in Tucson. I actually had to ask him. I says, well, how the heck did you even come across me? Why me to practically give these vans to? And he said, oh, one day I was feeling lonely, and I went on his computer, and I was looking at Corvairs racing and some stuff, and I seen a post that you had put on there, probably something that I picked up. Was sharing or asking a question, and so I was like, that was fun. Name out of a hat. And it's good because we got a good friendship now. Talk back and forth. And never did get the Monza out there, the 66. That's still there. But anyways, yeah, this is Chili Willie, 63 Greenbrier. It had just some steely wheels on it, rims and roach tires. So I threw these ones on out and get these in the shop so they don't go to heck out here in this heat. And rubber and that doesn't do very good out here in Arizona. They dry out quick. So what I usually do, a lot of them, I pick up trailer tires. There's a mom and pop little place. They're all over the place, these little trailer tire places that sell used tires. And so a guy down there, I couldn't find, I checked a whole bunch of them one day. Nobody had 14s. If they were just, they should have been thrown away. But a guy had a whole bunch of like warranted ones that had like a nail in it, stacks of them. So I think like $20 a piece, something like that. He sells them to me for. I probably bought a dozen of them, and they're pretty decent tires, but for just rollers. So I'll get these ones changed one of these days now here. Now that I actually have a tire machine that works. So yeah, there's nothing inside it. There's no seats. There's not a dash cluster. The steering wheel and all that's in there. It's the passenger's door glass is missing, and the back window on there actually had all the decals of the ice creams that they sold all over, but it was broken and falling apart. So I took that out. But it did say Chili Willie. You can still kind of see it on the front, and it has a penguin with a stocking hat on, and it's got it on the back of it. There's a little dent on this side here in the back, but other than that, it's a pretty good. I mean, $100. Come on, $100. Yeah, I think it had the head. It was missing the grill, so I have some extra ones. So I threw a grill on it for sitting here, I guess, and see, it's got a cracked windshield. I do need a bunch of windshields. Bill gave me when we were loading up the last time there with I don't know what time it was. When we were there one of the times, he said, "Oh," he goes, I'll give you. We'll go in my door storage." I'm like, "What?" So he goes behind the one shed and underneath a mesquite. They had a bunch of Greenbrier doors. Oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 doors, but they were flipped upside down with the top of it down in the mud, and the tree had just dropped stuff on it for years, and they're in the mud, and the tops are rusted out pretty bad on them. But it does have good bottoms, which most of the time, like Midwest, the bottoms are gone. So I guess they'd be good patch panels. Some of them have glass in them. So yeah, this is a Chili Willie from Tucson, and yeah, here it sits. Can't get rid of it. Got to keep it. Maybe do something with it. Maybe not. Anyways, that's the story of Chili Willie and Greeny. Have a good day.